Welcome to Symbols and Cynicism, a podcast where we talk about all of the things I love, some of the things I hate, and this wacky adventure we call life. My name is Bob, I'm your host, and I'm glad you're here today as we talk with Dr. Ryan Yahl from Miami University, smoke some queso, and people who can't drive in parking lots. Lots to do, so let's get started. Well, again, welcome back. We are glad you're here. We do have a little bit of fan mail before we get into today's full episode. We got a fan that sent in a message. Well, when you told us at the end of last season, more music education, you weren't kidding. My former students will tell you that when I put out a survey and I ask your opinion, be careful what you tell me because I do listen. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Also got another piece of fan mail from a band parent and who said, I've spent years watching marching band contests thinking I wasn't allowed to take photos and videos because they can't at concert bands, so an ensemble, and so they assumed that everybody was just breaking the rules, and they were glad to hear that news from Dawn, that yeah, you can take photos and videos at marching band contests, and their student has a solo, and they hadn't taken a picture of that, so hopefully they got one before the season is out, and that would be great. Did you do the homework? Did you write down 5 truths? I've been doing this a lot lately. This is actually a therapist-recommended activity that battles negative self-talk. I am not a therapist. I do not pretend to be a therapist. Please do not take anything that's said on this podcast as official therapeutic advice. It is everything but that. But it has helped me, this particular activity. When mental lies invade, I do this activity. Sometimes I just think through it, just as a mental activity. Sometimes I do actually grab paper and write them down. This is a great activity for the 2 a.m. wake up when you can't get back to sleep and your brain is being creative, if you want to call it that. And I thought maybe I'd share my 5 truths. Hopefully you did this. Maybe you don't need to, and that's great too. But here are my current, most recent 5 truths. I am a good person who cares about people. I love my family and friends, and they love me back. I have never sent any messages intending to hurt someone's feelings or cause harm. I was a very high-quality music educator who was good for kids, the band, and the community, and I can properly use 4-way stops. Text me your 5 truths. I would love to read them. I promise not to share any of them on the podcast, and keep in mind that unless you tell me who you are, these truths are completely anonymous. I have no idea who you are, so if you send me sometimes it helps to share your truths with someone else. No judgment on my part, hopefully no judgment on your part of my truths. Send them into the show. I'd love to read them. I promise not to share them with anyone else, and I don't even know who you are, so it doesn't really matter. Let's get moving on. Today's episode, I spent the day with Dr. Ryan Yahl at Miami University. It was a fantastic day. I'm going to put up some pictures from that day that I took on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, and you can look those up and check out some visuals about Miami. We talked about his transition from public school band director to the university level, how college students who are not music majors can be involved in music. We talk about Star Wars and more. I hope you enjoy listening to the conversation as much as I enjoyed having it, and I think Ryan did too. We also smoked some queso today. Yes, that's right. I said smoked queso, the recipe that might very well change your life. And people who can't drive in parking lots. We've got a lot to do, so let's get rolling right away. Here's Dr. Yahl. All right, welcome. We are here with Dr. Ryan Yahl. I met Ryan Yahl years ago. He is a former high school director from our area, high school student from our area. I think we actually first met when you were in high school.
Yeah, my junior year of high school.
Because I am much older than you.
You probably don't even remember this.
I don't.
But District Large Group for Choir was held at Van Wert in 2001.
That sounds right.
And Amy had just gotten the job at Wapak, Amy Johnston Blosser.
Yes.
And we sang at the United Methodist Church.
I remember that.
We finished singing, and you were outside, and Amy was outside, and I just happened to be right beside Amy.
Okay.
And I was a high school percussionist.
Okay.
And I think your name had come up as possibly somebody if I wanted to think about taking percussion lessons and going to Ohio State.
Okay.
So we actually met in 2001 when I was a junior in high school.
That is crazy. Well, since 2001, our lives have changed a little bit. You went to college, Bowling Green State University. You became a high school, public school band director near us in Van Wert, in New Bremen High School.
That was my second job.
That was your second job. Where was your first job?
So I taught it for a year to Anthony Wayne.
I knew that too.
My first year of teaching, 2006-07.
Right.
And then I did 2 years of teaching Catholic school at St. Patrick of Heatherdowns in Toledo when I was doing my master's at Bowling Green.
Okay.
And I was also assisting at Bowling Green High School as a percussion instructor with the marching band and with the concert bands.
Well, you are well traveled.
And then when I finished my master's, I got the New Bremen job.
You did your master's at BG.
Did my master's at BG, yeah.
More recently, your doctorate from Indiana University in Bloomington.
Yep.
You graduated from there and were in Texas for a couple years.
5 years.
At Texas A&M University Commerce.
So that was that was like the seventh name of the university in its history.
Okay, but I got one of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's now East Texas A&M.
Okay.
So yeah, I was there for 5 years.
Okay, 5 years. Even more recently now, and we are here at Miami University in your office in Presser Hall at the Miami University. Miami University,
yes.
It was a university before Florida was a state,
yes.
Right? Love and honor. You are the traveling associate.
Yeah, the visiting associate director of bands and director of athletic bands.
Oh, glad you said it. Thank you.
The longer the title, the less they have to pay you.
Right, but you are in room 1, which makes you the most important person.
I'm the only faculty member with an office in the dungeon, yes.
Well, it's not a dungeon. It's beautiful
It's
down
the basement,
here. You're
yeah.
near a restroom. You're near a rehearsal room.
I have no windows.
Well, I don't have any windows in my office either, so we are like in that account. Thanks for having me
Absolutely.
Here and being on the podcast. We're just starting season 2, and we're trying to do more educational interviews as we get on into season 2. We've got directors that listen, we have students that listen, college kids that listen, and so this is a perfect amalgam of all of those sorts of things as we talk through your journey through public education on into the university level, and then also, I mean, how does a student become a member of an ensemble? Not just music major, but non-music major too. There's a lot of students in all of your ensembles that's welcome at any university, I think, probably. But the most important topic today, at the top of my list, is that you are personal good friends with the D-O-double-G Snoop Dogg. What's it like being Snoop Dogg's best friend, and how soon can I have him on the podcast?
That whole situation was just surreal. Everything leading up to the bowl game and then meeting him and doing the halftime show, it was a blur.
I bet. This was the Arizona Bowl.
This was the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl in Tucson, December 28th. We had not even gone to the MAC championship yet, and the athletic director was calling me. First of all, the athletic director has never called me. This is the first time in a year and a half of being here that he'd made contact with me saying, hey, we have some information on a bowl game and we want to talk to you about possible band travel. And okay, so I said, we had just actually had a Zoom meeting about the MAC championship game. We were going to face OU that week. And I said, I'm still in my office, so here's my phone number. You can call me. So a few minutes later, I get a phone call, and it's the athletic director, David Saylor, and said that there's a bowl game that's very interested in having Miami that's attached to a big-name celebrity, and they want to know if we go, if the band will travel well. And I said, it's the Snoop Dogg Bowl.
Right.
And after I picked my jaw up off the ground, they needed to know, basically by that Friday, the day before the game, if we say yes, will the band travel well? And because the bowl game is typically, outside of the school term, and we're on J term at that point. We have a 6-week J term in between fall and spring. We can't require students to go on the bowl trip. They've taken small bands in the past. They've taken pet bands in the past. And said, okay, I'll try to get some kind of device out there to see and measure what the interest level would be. And so talking to one of the assistant directors, Chris Herman, he said, let's make a Google form, but because you want to know about the Snoop Dogg Bowl, let's include some of the other bowls that we're possibly in the running for.
Right.
To veil the fact that we're really interested in the data about Arizona. Mm-hmm. So we put a couple different bowl games on there. We put a couple extra days on each side for travel. And so, okay, would you be available on this date? Yes, no. Would you be available if you traveled separately? And we thought we would maybe get 60 or 70 to say yes. After the initial survey, we had 123 that said yes, we would be able to go. And then another 17 or so that said we could go if we traveled separately. We go to the game. OU kills us at the MAC championship game. And we figure, do they still want us?
Right.
So the next day they announced the bowl games, and okay, we're going to Arizona, we're going to the Snoop Dogg Bowl. Well, by that point, it gets out, obviously, the game's in Arizona.
Yeah.
And the students that said yes, obviously, were like, oh, hey, Arizona. And then we find out that Snoop Dogg wants to perform with the marching bands at halftime. And we're on finals week at that point, and I only see the band on Monday afternoon during the final exam period, which is a 2-hour window.
Right.
To give them all the information about the bowl game. This is what we know. Oh, and by the way,
you're going to meet Snoop.
Both bands are going to perform with Snoop.
Right.
So all of a sudden, 123 became 195.
Well, yeah.
So we took almost 200 kids to Arizona. We chartered a plane. We flew everything out the day after Christmas. We got out into Tucson that night. We didn't even get arrangements from the arranger for Snoop's arrangements till the week of Midwest, so like the week before Christmas. And even at that point, the original arrangements they sent us were both 4.5 minutes. They were both in awful keys. Like one was in G flat, one was in D flat. Like, yeah, these aren't going to work. These are too long. And they had initially thought each band would take one in addition to performing like a 3 or 4 minute tune and then Snoop would be on the field. We're like, what if we just did a block band? Both bands performed both arrangements. Snoop's on the field the whole time. And they were okay with that. They weren't okay with the changes we wanted to make the arrangements, but they finally understood we were
and
coming
who was the other band?
Colorado State.
Oh, right. So this is the multiple way conversation.
Yeah.
Because
and luckily,
they're involved also.
Exactly. So luckily Colorado State's and director and I had met the year before at Midwest.
Oh, okay.
Not knowing that we'd obviously be facing up against each other. And so he and I were on phone, texting, calling, on Zoom meetings. We were on a Zoom with the arranger himself, and then we got a cease and desist from Snoop's people because they weren't happy we were talking to the arranger about changing things.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, there was a whole thing. But finally, we worked everything out. We got shorter arrangements. They were both in band-friendly keys. Literally got an email with arrangements before Christmas, sent an email out to the band. Here's the music. Learn as much as you can. We did not have a rehearsal till the day before the game in Arizona.
Wow.
In addition to the halftime and having to learn the Snoop Dogg music, we had to modify pregame because our pregame here is set for the number of the people in the band, and we didn't take everybody. So rather than performing a pregame show with a whole bunch of holes, we just rewrote pregame for the people that were there.
Yep.
So the morning before the game, we're learning the Snoop Dogg music. We're relearning pregame. That afternoon, we have a combined rehearsal with Colorado State at the stadium. They actually let us rehearse on the turf. We did a pep rally, and then the next day we had a battle of the bands before the game, and then we marched to the stadium, and there's Snoop on the field throwing balls with the teams, and he's going up and taking selfies with kids, and he was so personable and so down to earth and just wanted to be with the people. The biggest thing was like his security team. They were very pushy about, okay, we got to get you from here to here and move. And he was all over the place. He was up in the box. He was down on the field. He was just everywhere he could be.
Well, this is at a time he had just been so all over like the Olympics.
Exactly.
I mean, like
he was like our cultural attaché.
Yeah. I thought in watching it on TV, of course, you and I had communicated a little before, like you're really, watching it on TV, he was like a good conductor. Like it was pretty legit.
And luckily, like, so when we rehearsed, we had 4 drum majors, Colorado State had 3, and we told the bands, okay, the 7 drum majors are going to be across the front. We have no idea what Snoop's going to do.
Right.
Because we didn't see him until halftime.
Yeah.
And literally 5 minutes before halftime, we still didn't know what he was going to do or where he was going to be.
Jeez.
The bowl staff literally stole a ladder from Colorado State, put it on the field on the 50, and put it, so he was standing behind the front ensemble, which had no idea what he was doing because they were facing away from him.
Listen back.
But even after halftime, you were coming down off the ladder and walking around, I'm like, okay, this is my chance. And I stop and get a selfie with him, and his security guards are pushing, trying to get him through. But he was so personal and so down to earth and stopping and talking to folks. And it was funny because you and I were texting.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned something on Facebook about if there's no Yahl Snoop selfie, this is the worst bowl game ever.
That's right.
And I literally got my selfie with him, and you were the first person I sent it to.
I know, I got it. I sent it to a bunch of my, like, I love you like a brother, but you were one of if there's a list of 100 people who I think would have a Snoop Dogg selfie, you're at the bottom of that list,
Right.
right? And so, like, I sent it to a bunch of our band friends, like, dude, Yahl actually met Snoop. Like, this is not an AI selfie.
No.
This is
is legit.
Freaking
I wasn't even
selfie.
back in the bleachers from halftime, and I sent it to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
remember that?
Well, and so just not to change the subject. My last year at Commerce,
Yeah.
they decided to do a bonfire because it's part of the A&M system, and Texas A&M does this big bonfire at homecoming. Legendary.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there was an instance several years ago and kids died.
hurt, yeah.
So they started to do the bonfire at Commerce. Well, somebody ponied up the money, and they brought Flo Rida to campus to perform at this bonfire.
Okay.
And so the marching band was there performing this pep rally, and there's Flo Rida. So not only can I mention Snoop Dogg, but I can mention Flo Rida in the fact of marching band in the same sentence. That just,
I'll tell you what, you have more street cred than I give you credit for. That's great. So can I have Snoop Dogg's number?
if I had it, sure.
But seriously,
Yeah.
seriously, I mean, that's all serious. That's a true story.
Yes.
Amazingly enough, the reasons to get into college education is so you can meet Snoop Dogg someday. No, that's
Well,
probably
and
not
I
really
can't tell you
great.
how often I use that as an example when I was dealing with orientation registration this summer. Like, hey, we just performed at the Snoop Dogg Bowl with
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, right. I mean, it is a great example of you never know where music's going to take you
No.
because you didn't get into this because of that, obviously. But
No.
it's a great, at the high school level, you have stories like I never knew I would do something like this, but it's the opportunities that music opens in for all of us.
And
For
our
all
mutual
of us.
friend Gary Speck teased me that it was a great thing to send to the Jacobs alumni newsletter. That,
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about a typical week, because Snoop Dogg is not a typical week.
No, it's not.
But tell us about a typical week in the life of Dr. Yahl, the visiting associate, etc.
So a typical week, like right now in the fall, I've got marching band techniques for the second year music education majors going to become band directors. Meets 8:30 to 9:25 Monday and Wednesday mornings. And then I've got marching band Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 4:25 to 6:25. And then pep band meets as a class on Monday nights from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then we started playing volleyball games this third week of classes already. We started hockey this past weekend, and that's typically a Friday, Saturday, 2 games in a row if it's a series. And then we start basketball in November with women's basketball and men's basketball. We started football. Our home opener was not till September 20th, so we had several weeks until the home opener. But we performed at a Bengals game on September 14th because Miami just became the official university of the Bengals.
Oh. Are you supplying them quarterbacks? Because they need some quarterbacks.
Well, that was the game he got hurt. It's more for our sports management and sports majors that
Oh, right,
they
yeah.
can get internship opportunities.
Training
Exactly.
thing.
Yep. Sports medicine, those folks, that they can get internship experience with a professional team while they're doing their classes and everything.
Wow, that's...
But I used it as an advantage to get us a halftime performance.
Yeah.
So we, compared to a bowl game or the MAC championship, it was a luxury because we had a 6-minute block to perform with a minute on the field and a minute off the field. And it just so worked out. We were doing the music of Anton Dvorak and the World Symphony for our September show. Didn't think that was a very Bengal fan-friendly show.
Right.
So we decided to do part of our pregame show, which is our traditional run-on entrance from the south end zone. We make the big block M, float it down the field, spell out Miami, then play Beautiful Ohio and make the formation of the state of Ohio.
Right.
We did William Tell Overture, which is part of our making the tunnels for the team when they come on the field at the football games. And then they requested, could you play Eye of the Tiger and spell out Who Day? So from the William Tell block, we started Eye of the Tiger, and then we broke out and branched out into the letters to spell Who Day.
Yeah.
And that was our 6-minute performance.
Yeah.
So
That's great.
So yeah, I mean, we've been out the last 4 weekends of the bowl game, the Bengals game on September 14th, 2 home games in a row, September 20th and 27th. And then this past weekend, we were at the Loveland High School MSBA event, Mid-States Band Association, in exhibition performance.
So you have marching band, symphonic band, pep band. You have classes,
Yeah.
music ed classes. I know in the spring you do a lot of student teachers and things like that, right? You do some
It
of that?
varies from term to term. Like last year, I didn't have any student teachers, but I've got the secondary instrumental methods class, which meets on Mondays and Wednesdays in the spring. Symphony band meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And pep band continues to meet as a class on Monday nights, 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I forgot to mention in the fall, like on Thursdays, we have game ops at the athletic department. So I go and sit through all the athletic events that are happening for a 2-week time span. We talk through all the game operations, and we talk through, the time the band can take the field at pregame, the time the band can take the field at halftime. Will there be a guest singer for the national anthem or that kind of thing? Like the month of October, the men's glee club is singing the national anthem on one of the games because they just met their $1 million mark for their endowment. So to kind of celebrate that, they'll be there.
So this wasn't on my list. I'm going to take
Yeah.
us off take us off on a tangent for
Sure.
right now. So every week you have that meeting,
Every Thursday
the
at 10
game
o'clock,
ops?
yeah.
And how long is that meeting approximately, give or take?
Most weeks it averages about 30, 35 minutes.
And then you're discussing a game, or like from how, it's not like tomorrow night's game, it's how far in advance are you usually
We'll be discussing anything that happens that day through the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So it's not just football, it's football, volleyball, soccer, any sport that's happening right now. Like we were even discussing basketball scrimmages that were happening recently.
You know, I think as I talk with a lot of high school directors, they go to collegiate games, whether it's Miami or Ohio State. I imagine those meetings are much longer than 30
Yes.
minutes potentially, but they go to these games and they see all of the integration of band plus video plus singers plus all of the things, and they go, let's bring that to our high school. And and it's like, that's a different story. First of all, we don't have the 1 hour meeting every
Yeah.
single week, and we don't have, it's really hard. And even fans used to say like, well, how come you don't do something like Ohio State? It's like, well, first of all, have you looked at our stadium? It's not the same, and we don't have the video board,
Yeah.
and we don't have the sound system, but we also don't have the production integration staff.
There's a whole team behind the scenes making that happen. And
It's
there's
not just athletic director and band director trying to
No.
make things happen. There are dozens.
I believe there between staff, interns, graduate assistants, there are dozens of people behind the scenes making things happen. And then, like, there's a detailed script.
Right.
Like we get a script of everything that's going to be read, everything that's going to be said by the PA announcer, so that we can start playing at the moment they're done speaking. We know how long each video is going to be, or approximately how long each read should take, so that we can plan for media timeouts. Okay, band has this long to probably anticipate to play.
Well, and then the coach can't decide to come out of the locker room 6 minutes late or 5 minutes
Yeah.
early. I mean, they come out. I remember seeing an interview with Urban Meyer, I think, talking about this. Like, there's a person standing next to Urban Meyer going,
yeah.
Coach, wrap it up. It's time to go now. And he has to listen. He can't, well, I'm not done with my
No.
pep speech yet.
Yeah, there's a whole team with headsets, and we've got
gotta
a
go.
person in the stand with the band that's on a headset telling us from the standpoint, okay, this is a go. This is, this ran too long. Scrap it. We had an issue the last game because we had the alumni band for homecoming with the pregame show, and we were supposed to start the pregame show at 17:30 and be done by a certain point, and then the football hype video starts at 5:30, remaining on the clock, and the team comes out at 4. Well, the national anthem finished after the 5:30 mark. So as we were playing William Tell to go down the field and make tunnels, they started the hype video, and some people got upset, but that was supposed to happen because from a timing standpoint and from athletic and marketing, that all has to happen at a certain point so that the team comes out on time.
You were late, so
Yeah.
tough luck.
Exactly.
Yeah, and everybody understands that beforehand. So when something goes wrong, it gets fixed, and
Yeah.
hopefully nobody's feelings are hurt, or at least,
And we know it won't be an issue in the future because that was a one-time thing that the alumni band was there and we had an extra time. And
yeah. That's interesting. That's good. I mean, I always assumed there were these big meetings, but now I know. Now I have proof from the home of love and honor. So obviously this is a very different life from public education. You were a very successful public educator. The high school, middle school levels, watched your bands perform many times. They were top notch for our area especially. What led you to higher education, to the university collegiate level?
So believe it or not, what really led me, inspired me to come here was one of my first experiences in the District 3 Honor Band. And my first guest conductor was Barry Kopetz. And we had Mark Kelly for the rehearsals, but Barry Kopetz came in and did the performance rehearsal at the Lima Civic Center and then the performance that weekend. And that was my sophomore year of high school. And it was the first time that I had really encountered somebody with doctor in front of their name. And there was something about Dr. Kopetz and the way he just kind of inspired us. And I think it was extra special because we played a commission that year that was in honor of Harry Folk. And so I got to play this world premiere of a piece that, how often does a sophomore get to do that in high school, let alone with a district honor band. And from that moment on, I was like, I want to be a doctor someday. It was just a matter of when and how to make it happen. When I finished my first year of teaching, it just so happened that the right assistantship worked out at Bowling Green, and I went back and got my master's after a year. Knew that most doctoral places hope that you have at least 3 years of successful teaching. I wanted longer than that. I wanted to try and establish and build something somewhere. So I spent 6 years at New Bremen, and the kids who were my 7th graders when I started were my seniors when I left. And we had gone to state concert band every year. We went to state marching band 3 out of the 6 years. Built the program back up from something that was the stuff that happened earlier. I was the 3rd director in 4 years after somebody who was there for 30.
Yeah.
But also had a good relationship with that person who had built the program up for 30 years because their child was in the program when I started. And we got to be very good friends and had a great working relationship. But then I also got to the point in my life where, okay, I'd finished my 6 years at New Bremen. I was 9 years total teaching. I was 30. My car was paid off. I'd paid down student loans a little bit. And it was the point in my life where I either make a professional move to either a bigger program or another school, or try and make the jump to the doctoral level, which is something I had aspired and wanted to do for a long time.
Mm-hmm. So this is kind of always what you wanted to be doing, collegiately.
Yeah.
Speaking, that's interesting. So now that you've been doing it, is it everything you thought it would be? What's different? Because I talk to a lot of high school directors, mm-hmm. young, usually in their 20s, because that's a good time to go off and do a doctoral program. Shouldn't do it when you're 50 and have a kid and a house mortgage,
yeah.
who think they want to teach at the university level. Well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to get my doctorate and I'm going to teach at the university level. Is it everything it's cracked up to be? What are your regrets? Tell us a little bit about that.
There are moments that I really, really enjoy it, that I really, really love the things I get to talk about with my students, the topics and the conversations, and watching their lights go off and really, oh, I get it, I understand now, rather than, I don't really care about this. You know, the discussions we get to have in the secondary methods class, things that they didn't know their band directors were doing behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. The planning for the year, the budgeting, the handbooks, the recruitment retention strategies, the selecting repertoire, the concert programming, and just all the other things that they think about and go, oh, wow, I didn't realize that my band director was really doing that. The rehearsals, you know, the students that want to be here, mm-hmm. as opposed to, not all students, but there's a number of students when you're a public school teacher that mom or dad are forcing them to be there, yep. or they're playing the instrument that was in the attic because yep. they weren't willing to buy another instrument, or yep. the instrument that they were fitted for. So, you know, there's some struggles that you deal with at the public school level that you don't deal with at the college level. I enjoy the irregularity of the schedule. You know, the fact that my Mondays, Wednesdays are fairly similar. Fridays, right now I've just got marching band. The fact that Tuesdays and Thursdays, right now into the spring, I don't have classes, but that means I can go out and do other things, like going out and working with public schools and mm-hmm. going and working with bands, getting ready for contests or for large group. Sorry, I shouldn't say contest. Large group adjudicated event.
It's all right.
But like within the last 2 years, I've gone out to at least 30 schools in Ohio and Indiana, as far south as Lakota East, as far north as Toledo and Whitmer Bowling Green High School, as far east as Licking Heights with Meg Beavers. In Indiana, where I live, the school had me come in Liberty, Indiana. So I've been all over, and then to do a district honor bands and other events that just get to work with students all over the state. It's wonderful. I appreciate mm-hmm. that aspect. And there are things that I miss about public school. I miss that, the day starts early, but you're done by 3:30.
Right.
You know, here Monday nights, I'm done at 9 o'clock with pep band, or marching band starts at 4:25, ends at 6:25. I'm leaving here sometimes after 7, depending on how many people need to talk to me after rehearsal and those kinds of things.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Tuesday or Thursday nights, a lot of time, we either have volleyball or basketball, hockey on the weekends when I don't have football or those things. So the give and take of the schedule, you know, I don't have district-wide in-services or department meetings. We have music ed meetings and we have faculty meetings, but because of my rehearsal schedule, they happen on Wednesdays at 4:30. I'm at marching band or symphony band, so
darn.
I can't be at any faculty meetings, which is good and bad.
But even when they are there, it's faculty meetings about music education.
Or is
not faculty meetings about yeah. IEP. So I mean,
not the latest alphabet soup or the latest acronym
right.
that the district is working on. There's very, very, very rarely meetings like those. You know, I don't have music boosters, but I don't have band parents dealing with props and other things or uniforms. Right. I have a Kappa Psi chapter and a Tau Beta Sigma chapter to help with those kinds of things. We've got a band board. I don't have, like I said, a lot of the parent things, but I've got alumni and boosters that donate and raise money, and the athletic department. And so there's the trade-off and the balance back and forth that, yes, I don't have these in public school, but I now have these at the university level.
Right.
Got great colleagues, and with the music ed folks, we get along very well because we have a like-minded focus about what we think and believe the student experience should be and how prepared we want them to be. We're big on field experience here, and so we start field experience right away the first semester of freshman year. They're going out and going into public schools and observing, doing some private lesson things, doing some pullouts, doing sectionals. Even marching band tech, they've got to go out and observe 10 hours of marching band rehearsals of multiple styles of marching band. Even with brass and woodwind methods, they've got to go out and do teaching of brass and woodwind instruments. So we're very big on the experiential part of preparing our students to be teachers.
I always thought it'd be cool where I taught was in an area that really was not within earshot of a university.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be really cool to have kids in doing that, to give back at that collegiate level where, hey, and you say, yes, they're in a program, they're in your class because they want to be here. They want to be music majors. They want to be band directors or whatever someday, and that's great. But also, like, there has to be this element of they don't know what they don't know, so that they, like, I remember being a college student. I mean, like, budget, I don't really care about having to do that or whatever. When some professor was telling me this is what your band director did that you didn't know about, I'm not sure that I really cared until about 2 years in. I was like, man, I really should have paid more attention in that. But I also remember being in high school, I was not the most motivated academic student. I did well. But then you get to college, like that's when my motivation kicked in, was in college, because 90% of my day was music stuff.
Sure.
And it's like, this is the good stuff. You mentioned the schedule.
Yeah.
Obviously, marching band practice or even symphony band practices late in the day, pep band in the evening.
Yeah.
A lot of that's because most of those students are taking classes all day. They have to be, right?
Sure.
And a lot of your students in marching band, symphony band, and pep band are non-majors.
Absolutely.
What percent, give me an approximate, what percent of students in your performing ensembles are not music majors?
So in all of our ensembles are open to majors and non-majors alike. The ensembles I deal with primarily, marching band, we've got about 225. Of that, probably 75% are non-majors, 25% are music majors. The music ed majors have a 2-year requirement to be in marching band, and then most of them, with the primary exception being saxophones or some low brass, because they're not an orchestra, have to fulfill their major ensemble requirement through marching band in the fall, because there's only one concert band. The symphony band in the spring semester is probably a 60-40 split, as far as 60% major, 40% non-major. And then the pep band is primarily non-majors. It's people that just want to keep playing, and maybe they want a low pressure environment or experience, and with the one practice a week, and maybe some weeks there's no athletic event and some weeks there's 3 or 4. It just kind of depends. Pep band is typically bigger in the spring, so in the fall semester it's smaller because of marching band. More people have to be at more things, versus in the spring semester is usually bigger, and we can divide up into 2 bands and kind of split the responsibilities between men's and women's basketball and ice hockey, and then the conference tournament for basketball, should either or both teams qualify.
That's a lot of pep band.
It's a lot of pep band.
I really love pep band.
Well, and that's another difference between the high school and the college setting, whether with marching band or pep band. You kind of have to be ready to do anything at a moment's notice. You and I were texting last year, right after we lost the men's basketball final to Akron.
Yeah.
Not knowing whether we would be going to the NIT or not.
Yep.
Because if we had beat Akron, or we would have gone to the NCAA.
Right.
And so just being ready at a moment's notice to, okay, we need to know this information right now so we can fill out a flight manifest.
When you don't get weeks, you get days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so my first year, the marching band went to the Cure Bowl. But it was a week and a half after the MAC championship. And we found out the Sunday after the MAC championship, you're going to Orlando.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it just happened to be that it was during finals week. And so making all the arrangements for students that maybe had finals during Thursday and Friday, but hey, we're leaving on Thursday to go to Orlando. Spending all day Friday in Orlando at Universal Studios, and then the game on Saturday, coming back Sunday. And some kids graduated on Saturday, took the red eye and flew down, or graduated Friday night, took the red eye, flew down to Orlando and met us for the game on Saturday. Others had to take exams in Orlando. So, I mean, it's just be ready at a moment's notice, especially a postseason, wherever you might be going.
Versus the high school life, where we're going to plan a trip for the band to Disney, and you take probably a year or more to do it.
Yeah.
A lot of that's fundraising and student payments, but you have the luxury of knowing, right? I also think it's interesting, reflecting college to high school life, that a lot of times at the high school life, they want a pep band at every event and they want a thing at every event. And my whole thing was, well, look, if I had 75,000 students on campus like Ohio State does, we could have a pep band and more things, because it's not all the same pool of 100 students who are the concert band, the pep band, the marching band, the jazz band, the soul ensemble band, and all of those things. And Miami even is how many students on campus total?
Somewhere between 22 and 23,000, I think.
Okay, so low 20,000s.
Yeah.
And you said, like, are kids right now in the marching band also in the pep bands, or
There
is
are
that
some.
Some, but they don't
Not
have to
all,
be.
no.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
And some kids are just in the pep band because
and
they love hockey or whatever.
between either the love of the activity or being part of it, or, like our colleagues at other major universities, which I shall not name.
No, you don't have to name.
Some of those band departments are funded by the athletic department,
Right.
which therefore makes them beholden, so to speak.
Right.
We're paying your bills, so there better be a band there.
Right.
We would love to be supported by some funds, but because we're not, we don't have that obligation.
Okay.
Because we're funded by the department, not athletics, so to speak.
Right.
We will try to make sure that we have a marching band at every football game or every home game. That will be at men's and women's basketball and ice hockey, except for when we're on break.
Right.
But like, we've done the volleyball thing. We've had requests from other sports, but we do not have the resources to go every single sport.
So if a student is going to college next year, whether it's Miami or anywhere else, or maybe they're on campus right now and they're like, hey, I'm not involved in the marching band or an athletic band, what should they do as a non-major? They want to be involved because they had a great high school experience. Who should they contact and what should they do at their university to be involved?
They are more than welcome to reach out to me, and my contact information is on the Miami website. We have the Miami Marching Band website also, and we have a Miami Marching Band email address. They can send request more information, fill out a Google form, and that all comes to me, and I'll send them information back. For marching band, there's a video audition process, and the materials go live on our website late March, early April. Usually we put out 5 scales, they choose 2, one's multi-octave. They have to do different articulations and then a short etude, and then usually they're part of the fight song, whatever the first part is for their instrument. Mm-hmm. Then videos are due July 1st. I sit down, I watch all the WIN videos, come July 2nd, and I try to, within the week, send out all the emails welcoming people to marching band after that. Then we have a 1-week camp prior to school starting, so they get to move in a week early if they're living on campus, and avoid general move-in by about 4 days. They also get to move into their room. They don't move into a room on campus and then have to change rooms partway through the week. They move into their room right away. Pep band, there's no audition. You just sign up and you're in. Which is good and bad because everybody's welcome.
Right.
But at the same time, everybody's welcome. And so it's kind of like church choir.
Yep.
And you get the 85-year-old soprano with a vibrato 5 miles wide. And you get the drum set player that sometimes struggles to change grooves or keep a steady beat or...
Right.
So everybody's welcome.
Well, it is music education.
It is music education.
You are educating.
The concert bands all have an audition process. In the fall for wind ensemble, it's a video audition process. And then in the spring for wind ensemble and symphonic band, or wind ensemble and symphony band, it's a live audition in November prior to the semester.
So for the marching band auditions, there's no visual audition. They don't have to show us
just the playing audition.
Box of 8 or anything like that.
No. Just the playing audition, and just ask that the camera's set up in such a way that we can see, upper body, see the instruments, see the fingers.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, you have, as a high school director, you have your kids coming into the freshman year. Unless they move from a different school, it's ground floor one visually. Yeah. Now, they spend 4 years at their high school, whether that's a contest marching band, whether that's high step dance, all kinds of things are filtering into the Miami University Marching Band. How much time, do you spend a lot of time basics-wise at band camp to teach, like, this is how we march at Miami, which might be different than your old school? It's probably a different basics package for a lot of students.
Sometimes it's no marching band at all. We've had students come that have never had a marching band at their school.
Okay.
Or never done any marching band, period. And
sometimes that's better.
And sometimes
they don't have bad habits.
Exactly, they don't have bad habits to break.
Right.
But yeah, we probably spend the first 2, if not almost the first 2.5 days of band camp just working fundamentals on the marching field. We'll spend time working on music and getting, the pregame music learned and the first halftime show and some stand tunes. But like the first 2.5 days on the practice field, it's just fundamentals. And we start with no instruments. We start
just like high school band.
Exactly. It's just like high school band, making sure that they understand how we do the roll step and how we stand, with heels together, toes apart.
Yep.
But then the, feet tracking forward when we move forward. And then just our basic, we don't do band 10 hut. Not all those. We have our own set of commands that are for our program to meet the necessary needs. But we don't start actually moving with instruments till end of day 1, and then we start marching and playing day 2 and building from the ground up, so that we build in the Miami Marching Band fundamentals package.
Do you have kids annually that really struggle to change styles?
I wouldn't say no. I mean, maybe a couple, but not hugely.
It's not a huge deal.
Probably the biggest struggle this year was, I was telling you in conversation prior that we've got a high school student that's marching with us this year.
Yeah. And
doing what their high school band does versus what we do. And the first couple of days, their high school band is set up in such a way that they kind of lean forward over out in front of the feet. It's like, we don't do that here. Just relax back. And so and he's doing both bands at the same time. He's doing his high school band and marching here in the college band. So getting him to live in both worlds, so to speak.
good news is you don't have any judges in your press box.
This is true.
But you do have a lot of alumni who are judges.
I have a lot of judges in the stands.
Yeah, they're all.
Well, and that's another similarity
Everyone's a judge.
to the high school band world is
Yeah.
that, you know, when you're a high school band director, there are people in the community who know
Yep.
you, who you are, and you
Yep.
do not know them.
Yep.
But they know who you are, and they have a very proud opinion of the band.
It's the back in my day crowd.
Or exactly, yes. It's the longer they've been out of it, the better the band is, or the longer their kids have been out of it, the better the band gets.
Yep.
Same, it happens at the college level, not just band alumni, but donors and folks who see me in the community, and because I also play organ at the church here in town.
Yeah.
They know me from that.
Yeah.
So they'll see me at a basketball game or something and feel free to leave me their opinions.
So not much. There are a lot more similarities between the two jobs than I thought there
Yeah.
may be. So if I'm a college student, or maybe I'm a director, high school director,
Mm-hmm.
and my kids are going to go to a college as a non-major to be in an ensemble, what can I do to prepare them for differences in college marching band life? I mean, college life is so much different anyway,
Yeah.
but band life is different.
Yes.
How can I prepare them, or how can they prepare themselves for the fact that this is going to be different?
I would start investigating early as far as what the marching band requirements are for getting in. If there is an audition process or if there's not, making visits and, you know, going and seeing if you can get tickets to a game or go and watch the marching band rehearse. I have a number of kids that come and do visits, and they'll come and watch the band rehearse after they visit the Fisher College of Business or some other area on campus. And I actually recommend students to come on a non-campus wide open house day, so they see the unglamorized version of things,
Right.
and the real, honest, unvarnished.
Yeah, minus the makeup.
Yeah, exactly, and get to actually interact with our students.
Well, we're deep into the marching band season now for all of us,
Yeah.
and the college season goes a little longer than most high school seasons
does.
because of just more games, and then also the bowls, as it were. I saw a video the other day. You just got done, or you're still doing like Dvorak New World Symphony.
Just finished Dvorak, yeah.
What's coming up for the MUMB?
So just the way the schedule's worked out the last couple of years, we've had 2 games in September, 2 in October, 2 in November. And so we've worked it out to do 3 halftime shows. So month of September this year was at Dvorak and the New World Symphony, written by one of our former directors, David Schaefer, band composer, lives in Boston now. And actually he came back a couple weeks ago for the homecoming celebration, was here with the alumni band. So he got to hear his arrangements. And coming up for the month of October, I've written the arrangements for a Stevie Wonder show. And then the month of November, we're doing a One-Hit Wonders.
Okay.
So that's kind of our season this year.
I mean, well-known tunes because you're playing. I mean, you're a football crowd,
Yeah.
right? And so you got and your shows also end up on Facebook, and
Yep.
these are all good recruiting tools. And so they see you playing. Hey, I know that tune. That's good. That's good recruiting tools. So I was looking up also over the weekend. You're 2-3. Football team is
Yes,
2-3.
we are.
But I mean, you played Wisconsin and Rutgers, so
We did.
that early season smaller school team. I mean, you're playing way up
Yeah.
into the. So don't count those two, right? That makes you 2-1, and you did
Sure.
win the first MAC game this weekend
Yes,
against
against Northern
Illinois.
Yeah.
I don't know how good they are, but you're 1-0 in the MAC.
Yeah.
So, at what point in your season, I know as a high school band director, about halftime of the first football game, I was thinking, are we going to make the playoffs? At what point in your season do you start looking at MAC championship, or are we going to go to a bowl, and what bowl might that be? You mentioned the Snoop thing came about last second, but at what point do you start looking at it?
So I started looking at bowl projections already last week,
Okay.
because by about week 4, we kind of get an idea of where the season might be headed. Mm-hmm. Except last year we started 0-4, and then we kind of won out, and then
Yeah.
somehow ended up going to the MAC championship. And they changed things last year with the MAC as far as they got rid of divisions, and now it's just the top 2 teams.
Right.
So while I'm looking at the bowl projections, I don't know that I give a whole lot of stock to them, because the last 2 years they've all had us going different places, and none of them were the place we ended up.
Right.
So far, I've seen a couple projections that have us in the Bahamas Bowl, one that has us in Boise at the Potato Bowl, and another one that has us one very, very early on in bowl season, the Veterans Bowl or another bowl like that. But like last year, somebody had us in Myrtle Beach, somebody had us, we thought we were going somewhere completely else, and then all of a sudden Tucson popped up. Same thing happened the year before with Orlando. We thought we were going to Boise, or we thought we were going to there was somewhere else that we thought we were going for sure. And then, oh yeah, you're going to Orlando. Oh, okay.
What a lot of people don't know is in the college football world, outside of the top bowls like the Rose Bowl, mean, those are locked in based
Yes.
on performance of team, record, playoff standing, et cetera, et cetera. When you get down to the bowls you just mentioned, the bowls pick the teams, and there's a hierarchy of selection. So
Yes.
those bowls pick teams and fan bases that travel really well or are nearby because they want to sell
Yes.
tickets and they want a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And so a lot of things can happen. It's just not how many games did we
No.
win and how many. I mean, there's a lot of publicity and political factors.
And there's the
involved.
whole conference buy-in, like certain bowls are this conference versus this conference,
Right.
or this conference versus this conference, or any combination of these conferences buy into this bowl. It's just so happened that the last 2 years with the MAC championship, the winner has gone to Orlando and the other team has gone to Arizona.
Okay.
It just so happened that last year was the first year Snoop was involved with the Arizona Bowl. But Toledo had gone to the Arizona Bowl the year before that. And we went to Orlando the year before that. So I sent all of my materials from last year to Ricky Sook at OU because OU was going to Orlando last year.
Right.
So and we kind of all talk and share and make sure that we're all informed about.
Do you root for warm places, not warm places, close places, not easy to get? Do you root for one or the other? Or is there not really?
I don't know if I should say what I root for. I root for things that aren't going to screw up my Midwest trip. Because I don't want to miss the Midwest Clinic. I'm okay going to cold locations because I like the cold. Orlando was fine. I'm not a big beach or hot person. But also, it wasn't hot then, but it just rained. Like, it rained for 5 hours during the game. It was awful. We were standing, getting ready to go on the field of pregame, and ESPN texted the director saying neither band is going on the field of pregame. Go back to the bleachers.
Yeah. Well, in some of those games, you don't even get to do a halftime show because
No.
there's rock stars
Yes.
or whoever, which in one case is kind of a bummer from an audience perspective.
Yes.
You think, well, that's kind of a slap in the face to bands, and maybe it is. But also as a director, I think you said earlier, whether it's before or whether it's on the because it's holiday break, you may only have half your kids.
Exactly.
You might be relieved not to have a halftime show you have to do because you don't have all your kids.
Not even so much even in the halftime, but like just the logistics of everything related to the game. Because as soon as the game's announced, within a couple hours, I will have received the bowl manual that informs us, okay, you get this much time at pregame if you get a pregame show. You get this much at halftime if you get a halftime show. This band goes first, this band goes second. This is where you'll be seated. This is where you'll be staying. You need to have this many rooms, at least. You need to, like, it outlines thing by thing. And so that is more of a headache than anything else, is following all the logistics of the manual and making sure that you don't inadvertently do something that goes against what would be part of the contract.
Right.
And then there are some things that are negotiated and non-negotiated, and then you get stung on the other end when you get the final bill.
Yeah, right. And they send that directly to you, right? Dr. Yale, fill out this bill.
I get an email, yeah.
You get an email, yeah. And then somebody else takes care of that. So I'll put you on the spot, and then you can tell me to delete this out of the podcast if you want. What's the you're still a young man. You're really new to the collegiate world. 3 years here, 5 years at the previous job. What's the future? What's your 5, 10, 20-year plan?
That's a good question. I was in Texas for 5 years and enjoyed being down there, worked with students down there and learning about Texas bands. Having heard about Texas bands all my life and
Are the stories true?
oh my gosh, just monster programs and the funding for programs, and depending on the area, being in how close I was to the DFW area,
Right.
the Dallas-Fort Worth programs are incredible. I enjoy being in Texas, but I enjoy now that I'm back in Ohio, I'm less than 2 hours from my family.
Yeah.
And my parents, while they're not old, are nearing retirement age and are in their late 60s, early 60s. My mom and dad's mid-60s. I have a sister and brother-in-law, 3 nieces. Watching them grow up rather than watching videos on my phone.
Yep.
Being able to go to things and be Uncle Ryan.
Yep.
Especially since my oldest niece is just starting 5th grade band.
Ooh.
So
What's
starting
she playing?
trombone.
All right.
So being able to go back and forth and be able to do those things is important.
Yeah.
So while I want to be a director of band somewhere, I want to have a graduate conducting program and work with graduate students. I want to have a top concert band. While I want to do all the things, I also want to try and maintain some bit of geographic location so that I can.
Well, we all deal with the work-life balance, right? And programs like you're mentioning that have graduate conducting and those jobs aren't everywhere.
They're not.
I mean, I hope you selfishly being nearby. I hope you stay for a long time because
and I enjoy marching band, but marching band's a young person's game, and
I am aware of that.
Every day I climb the tower.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think about it more and more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Every bus ride was like how did they do, how am I going to still be doing this in 10 years
Yes.
or climbing towers or late nights, early mornings, right? I mean, all of those things. I remember being in my 40s and thinking, how did they do this when they were 60? Guys like Dick Sherrick and all this. And now I'm in my 50s. I'm like, yeah, I could be doing that in 10 years, but you never know. You never know what health is going to bring. So, hey, can I ask you we talk a lot about music education on this podcast. Let's talk about Star Wars.
Okay.
We've never talked about Star Wars.
We really haven't, no.
We've only really talked about band.
Yeah.
So my first question is always on a sliding scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're not even sure who Luke's father is, and 10 being that you know that Luke has an evil clone. Where do you fall on the 1 to 10 scale?
I'm probably somewhere between a 6 and a 7.
Okay.
I'm more of a purist in that 4, 5, and 6 is where it's at.
Yeah. Okay.
I've never seen 1 through 3 all the way through.
All right.
And I don't know that I care to see 7, 8, and 9.
Okay. All right.
I grew up with 4, 5, and 6 on VHS.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I watched Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Because I just enjoyed that film.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the Ewoks and Yoda, and
Well, you're better than some other guests, because some other guests were like a 2, and that's a fun 2. It's just fun. We're not going to get too in depth.
So I did
Super
go
surfacey here.
Last time I was at Disney World when I went to the new Bremen Band in 2013. I did build my own lightsaber.
Okay, yeah.
So I do have one of those, and
They do the droids now, which is really super cool. You build your own droid.
Some of the kids bought me one of those large Darth Vader statues, and it was in my office in New Bremen for a long time. It had a baton taped in his right hand.
All right, so favorite movie?
Out of the Star Wars?
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi.
Okay, yeah. Pretty typical answer. What about favorite character? Any Star Wars character?
Like I said, I love the Ewoks, but I think I also enjoy Chewie. And just, if I could have a Chewie, I would. That combination, like dog, human kind of.
Yeah. That you and my wife agree. Chewie is the best. She loves, he's the perfect best friend.
Yes.
And he can understand you even a little better. Loyalty.
Absolutely.
Loyalty beyond belief.
To a fault.
To a fault. Okay. Favorite villain?
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader. Favorite hero / or Jedi? Either one.
I think Yoda. I think
of the wisdom?
Just,
or?
His quirky way of saying things.
Yep.
And his ability to just do things, and forgive me for saying it, being a bad.
Yeah.
Like when he raises the ship out of the moat.
Yep.
And showing Luke up and patient young grasshopper.
Yeah, exactly. He's the Mr. Miyagi sort of, and I always love that scene where he raises that up. That's the whole Luke I can't do it. It can't be done.
Yeah.
It can't be done. And as a teacher, I always kind of liked passing out music to his students, and they'd go, "We can't play this." And then 3 months later, I was like, "Hey, remember when you said we couldn't play this? And now we're doing it." What about least favorite movie or character? Something you just don't care for?
I think mine's a pretty stock answer. Jar Jar Binks.
I think that's everybody's answer. No, not every. There are people that, again, he's the kind of the loyal. He's sort of the Chewbacca of the prequels.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be loyal, and
He's just more annoying.
I'm with you. 100%. What about a favorite individual scene from a Star Wars something?
Probably one of my favorite scenes is the very end of Return of the Jedi, when Luke looks out and there's Yoda, there's Obi-Wan, and there's Anakin, not Darth Vader, but Anakin.
Yeah.
And the 3 of them are united.
Yeah, sort of that heart.
Yeah.
That heart moment. Nice. Hey,
But not what they did with the DVD.
Yeah, the digital reanimation.
Yeah, putting the young guy in, but the old guy that when you see when he takes the mask off.
Yep.
Seeing him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Which was a different character than, actually was the body of Darth Vader was a different actor. The head, when he removes the mask, is a different person.
Wow.
And of course the voice is different.
Jones, yeah.
I always wondered when they reanimated and put Hayden Christensen, the young Anakin / Darth Vader, in. They kept old Alec Guinness. They didn't put in young Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I always wondered why.
It
probably has something to do with the estate of Alec Guinness not letting them,
That could be.
or something. I don't know. I'll do some research, and we'll talk again soon. Hey, thanks for being on the podcast.
Hey,
It is
my pleasure.
a joy. I'm looking forward I've been looking forward to this day for 2 weeks. I get to sit in on a wind ensemble rehearsal. I'm going to get to see a marching band rehearsal later today. I'm looking forward to the rest of the day. Thanks for having me in, and lunch somewhere.
Yes, absolutely. Wherever you would like to go.
Where's lunch? I've only ever been to that place downtown that's a bar around a corner and up a set of smoky Mac and Joe's.
Okay.
I've been there twice. I've loved it. That was Gary's favorite spot.
That is one of Gary's favorite spots.
And we were here a year ago or so for a robot tournament. My wife and we had a lunch break, and I said, we're going to go find that one place. I had no idea what it was called. So I think it's around here. I found it. So we can go there. That was Gary's favorite place. So
there's a couple of places.
I want to go to Ryan's favorite place.
There's a burger bar downtown called Skipper's, where the owner's from Chicago, so it's a very Chicago-themed restaurant.
Okay.
But there's also another place called Left Field Tavern.
Okay.
That's kind of Oxford fare, kind of.
Right.
So either one of those, or we can go to Mac and Joe's.
Ryan's choice, because I told Gary's choice, because you're from here. You don't live here, but you work here. You're here every day. So I'll let you choose, and I'll buy. I see a Miami banner.
Yes.
I see a BG hat.
Yes.
I can't believe they let you have that BG hat.
That was from John Waters.
In your office, but it's been a joy to be with you. Good luck with the rest of your season, rest of your school year, whatever else happens. Go Miami. Love and honor.
Love and honor.
Miami was a university before Florida was a state. It was. Good rest of your school year.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, I want to thank Dr. Yahl for hosting me for the day. He and his colleagues and students were very gracious. I met a bunch of students and colleagues, and they were just very warm and welcoming to me, an outsider. I did not graduate from Miami. I have made a couple of visits there. I mentioned Gary Speck, the former retired now director of bands at Miami. I went to see him a couple of times, and we became very good friends over the years, and I just had a wonderful day. Since that conversation, which was a couple of weeks ago, the football team has also beaten Akron and Eastern Michigan. They are tied at the top of the MAC. Buffalo and Western Michigan, both at 3-0 in the conference, 4-3 overall. So Miami's having a good season. Maybe we'll get to see the Miami University Marching Band and Dr. Yahl at another really cool bowl game. Had a great time. I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Let's talk smoked queso. This is one of my favorite smoker side dishes. It originated from my favorite YouTube smoker chef, Matt Pittman at Meat Church. I've talked about him before. I've made some alterations to it since then, but originally that's where I got this recipe. You'll need a large foil pan, like one of those disposable foil pans, or a Dutch oven. I prefer a Dutch oven, but if you don't have one of those, like a just disposable foil pan will do. So you cube a small block of Velveeta cheese, like 1 inch into 1 inch squares, and 2 blocks of smoked Gouda. You can use regular Gouda. If they have smoked at your store, get the smoked. And again, dice that up into like 1 inch cubes or something like that, and toss those into the Dutch oven or your foil pan. Get your favorite breakfast sausage, like one of those tubes of sausage, right? That ends up sort of like ground beef, or it is ground meat. Whatever your favorite breakfast sausage is, brown that up in a skillet. You add that to the oven, and also 2 cans of Rotel. Whatever your favorite is, they have the different levels of spice, so whichever's your favorite, and 1 small can of chili peppers. You can add 2 if you want a little more kick, or you can leave that out if you want, right? That's kind of optional. I added that in. That is not on the original Meat Church recipe. 1 small can of chili peppers. Season the whole thing with whatever your choice of barbecue beef seasoning is. I use Meat Church Holy Cow. That's a really good match for me. Use whatever is in your closet and you like. Smoke this uncovered at about 250 degrees for about 45 minutes. Stir it about every 15 minutes. Give it a good stir. Time and temperature really don't matter. You can do whatever. The sausage is already cooked. You already browned that. Everything else is just cheese and cans of stuff. So all you really need to do here is melt the cheese, get the smoke flavor into it, and then just incorporate all of the ingredients into, one cheesy, amazing goodness. Once it's smoked, pull it off, and you're going to need some sturdy chips, right? None of those cheap, wimpy chips, because this is a thick, heavy queso. Or, if you want to do it symbols and cynicism style, bake a pan of waffle fries seasoned with the same barbecue seasoning you used in the queso earlier, and then put the queso over the waffle fries. Why waffle fries, you might ask? 2 words, my friends: surface area. Because now you pick up a waffle fry and all of the cheese comes right with it. So, smoked queso over waffle fries. Give it a shot. If it isn't great, then you probably did it wrong. It goes great with steak, burgers, or just eat it as your meal. No judgment from me on any of that. Enjoy smoked queso. I know I do, and hopefully you will too.
That's it. No, breathe. Find your happy place.
People who can't drive in a parking lot. Look, parking lots are not free-for-alls. It's not do whatever you want. Injuries can still happen. People can still get hurt. Cars can be damaged. I mean, like, we're still driving heavy vehicles here, people. All right. And there has to be some semblance of normalcy and respect. So follow the arrows in the aisleway. You know, those aisleways, they aren't always double wide. So there's arrows for a reason, so that we don't like end up head to head. And also the arrows usually are indicating which way to go so that it's easy to pull in and out of the spot because they're angled, right? So follow the arrows in the lines. Stop signs. Stop signs are important because it's directing the flow of traffic and helping, lack of injury or accidents and fender benders. The right of way for pedestrians. Now, parking lots are sometimes different on this, but gosh, keep your eyes open. Watch for pedestrians. Let them cross. Small children in parking lots. Be careful. Keep your eyes open in the parking lot. Small children are running around. That's a different rant, right? But the right of way for pedestrians. Obey that. Cross traffic. The people that drive perpendicular to the actual aisleway. You must yield to the people that are following directions and driving in the aisleways. Okay? So cross traffic, eyes open, drive slow, be aware. Speed limits. There aren't speed limits in parking lots, but look, probably 10 miles an hour, 15, like slower is better. Lots of things are happening in a parking lot. People going the wrong way, people not watching when they're walking, people pushing carts rolling on their own, kids who are not attended as well as maybe kids should be. Like, there's a lot going on. Drive slow, be careful. What about parking? That's another rant for another day. Let's not get into that today. Drive safe. I feel better. Do you feel better? I feel better. This week's homework. Let's give another week to this 5 truths idea. This is really self-reflective. I want you to take some time and do this. Repeat it to yourself. Read your truths, right? Write them down today. Read them tomorrow. Read them the next day. Read them the next day. They got to be true. They got to be positive, and they got to be honest. Dig deep. Nobody else is reading these unless you send them to me. But what's true about you as a person? You deserve to talk positively and truthfully to yourself and not believe the lies that your brain is making up. Write them down and repeat them. Think of this like the beginning of Cars. Remember that movie when Lightning McQueen says,
Okay, here we go. Focus. Speed. I am speed. 1 winner. 42 losers. I eat losers for breakfast. Speed. I'm faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am lightning.
he's talking to himself, right? He's trying to hype himself up. He's talking truth to himself. He is fast. So that's your homework for the week, and that's the show. Make sure you leave a rating, drop a comment, or send a message on the app of your choice. You can text the show with the link at the bottom of the description, and check out our merch store at themarchingarts.com/RHS, which also has a link in the description. Bottle stickers and hoodies and t-shirts of both the Symbols and Cynicism SID logo and RHS music. We hope you'll join us next time for our spooky Halloween special with music, drum corps, books, and more. And maybe the most scary thing, kids who don't make an effort. Thanks for joining me today. The theme music is Zzz Diddle Gok, written by me in 2022. Copyright RHS Music. Show logo is designed by John Suh. The show producer is my sister, Kathy. I hope you'll join us next time for more reflections and rantings on Symbols and Cynicism.